Hello there. I'm Nicole of the Red 5 Network, part of On the Fives. And I am so glad that you guys are all here today. It's a very special day. Technically, I'm recording in the past for the future. So this is coming out May 25th. So I want to wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas. To all those who already celebrated the Hanukkah season, happy Hanukkah, and also happy Kwanzaa to everybody. I'm glad that you guys are all turning in today because it's going to be a fun day. It's a holiday edition. I'm very excited. Again, I'm Nicole, your host, and part of the Red 5 Network that you can find on X as well as Instagram, Red 5 Network, and also BioLink/Red 5. You can also find me on Used and Abused as well as Peace Love Fandoms on Twitter X. I can't get it out of my head, people, okay? One of these days it'll be just X all the time. But until then, it's going to still be Twitter. So I'm really excited because we have a special show for you guys tonight because we also have a very special guest. But before we get to our very special guest, I am so very excited. There's a couple of things I want to talk about real quick. One, again, On the Fives is connected to Red 5 Reading, which is the Red 5 Network's book club that I've been spearheading. And I'm so excited because we just finished reading Volume 1 of Heir to the Empire. And we are getting ready to begin Volume 2 and Volume 3 to Heir to the Empire in the new year. And I would love for you to join us. And if you're interested, you can reach out to me on Red 5 Reading or Peace Love Fandoms on Twitter X. And I would love to have you included in that. We actually do our chats in our Discord, and you are all invited. So feel free to join us. We meet on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time, and I would love for you to join us. My other announcement is that I ran a contest this holiday season, which I love to get to know people. As you know, if you're watching this for the first time, I bring on content creators that are part of the Red 5, that are friends of mine, that are within the Red 5, and I get to know them bookworm style. And this month, I'm getting to know other people through the holiday season. And I'm so excited because I did a holiday book, how do I want to say this? Red 5 holiday book contest, just getting to know everyone's favorite reads because I love reading, and I love reading special Christmas books, anywhere from Christmas Carol to Polar Express, Call Me Mrs. Miracle. I have a slew of books that I read just during Christmas. The number one from this poll, from those who dropped their comments, was Dr. Seuss's The Grinch Stole Christmas. That was the number one response. And I want to take a moment real quick to also thank you to every person that's listening to this that actually went ahead and did all the entries and, hit the like button and shared this, because if it wasn't for you guys, this contest wouldn't have happened. And I'm excited because this one got me so excited. I can't wait to do more for all of you. And so I'm excited because our winner was Isaac. He actually put in The Legend of Candy Cane. That was his response. And I'm so excited for him. So congratulations, Isaac. You have won a really cool, fun, well, you'll see, because I like surprises. So I have something really cool coming to you sometime between now and the beginning of the new year. So congratulations, Isaac, on winning the holiday book contest. I'm so excited. And thank you again to everybody that actually put in their entries. It's so good to get to know other people. And actually, I even learned a few extra books that I hadn't known before. Thank you to shout out to Ubaldo, because he actually threw out some books I hadn't read before. And I was excited to see that. And it's just great to know people. Without further ado, though, let's get into our show, shall we? I am very excited. On the Fives, we had my friend Cam Ray. Well, you get to meet one of my friends and Cam Ray's friends next. And I'm so excited because just like Cam, and Row the Red 5, I've known these three for probably almost 4 years, which is crazy. Okay. But I have absolutely loved getting to know them during these last 4 years. Charles of Conversations, as well as my Red 5 Tavern Dungeon Master, is here tonight. We are going to do this holiday style.
Just 1 second. I'm just going to make sure Cam's on here to take over this podcast.
I think you're good. I did not give him or Bub the invites tonight.
All right. Okay, cool.
I mean, but now you never know. Bub has been known to get into pods before
Everything.
without knowing
Everything.
he sent transmissions before. So, but I am so excited. Him and I were talking. It's crazy because we're coming up. You and I've known Ro now 4 years in the spring.
That is crazy.
Well, no, late winter, early spring.
Yes, it is absolutely crazy to think about that. That's like literally the inception of this entire thing for us, for me and Pat. Was like, that's how far back we all go. Before Red 5, before the whole thing, it was just loose association, which is fantastic.
I know. It's crazy because I wasn't even in I was friends with the Red 5 for a long time. Because of Ro, because of you. And then but I love it. And because you guys have just grown to be family, and I just love it. And I'm so glad you're here. Although we're missing somebody today.
Yeah, Mr. I got to work on the front line taking care of people. Woo.
Right? I'm sure as long as he has his ladder with him, we're good.
He's got a step ladder. It's in the nursing station there. So if duty calls, he's nearly 3 or 4 steps lower, higher, or whatever. Away. Let's just say. Yeah, he's there.
Well, for those who are listening in, I am talking about Charles' co-host Pat, and I hope in the future that we will do this again.
Yes.
With both of you. So
yes, and he's got some great books that he would love to talk about as well. We spoke about this, and we tried to make it work schedule-wise. It just didn't work, but we didn't want to take, not to miss the opportunity to have a Christmas-themed Red 5 reading topic, because we've got a lot, and in a way, Pat's going to be here, and we'll get to that in a second.
Aw, I swear, if he shows up.
Well, he won't show up, but he'll be here in spirit for sure.
In spirit. Well, as long as he doesn't come through as a ghost, we're good.
No, he's going to come up from the ladder over here. He's going to pop up. Yeah. You might see his head or whatever.
Whew, that's a good thing. All right, Charles. Well, shall we start? The first
Absolutely.
Is a round of this or that.
All right.
All right. First one up. Hardcover or paperback?
Paperback. Reason why is because it's easier to manipulate in multiple different places, whether you're sitting on a train going to work, laying back in bed before you go to bed. I find that the hardcovers are a little harder to manipulate. You can't wrap them around the back where you can just dog fray the pages and give that spine those proper creases that it needs to show the love.
We don't dog ear. That should be against bookworm rules, Charles.
Oh, okay. Why? So what are we supposed to be doing then? What's the proper procedure?
They're called bookmarks.
Oh, bookmarks.
Or papers or receipts.
Yeah,
bookmarks.
Receipts. Receipts.
Doggy ears ruin the books, Charles.
But it also provides love. When you go through a book and you flip through the pages and you see all these bookmark these little tabs folded over, that's wow, someone started here or stopped here. And that's kind of an interesting part of a story.
Interesting take. I hadn't thought about that before. Okay, next question. Science fiction or thriller?
Science fiction.
Science fiction.
If I have to choose one, because thriller is good, but I think it's for me, its interest level would leave to a certain degree, but science fiction sparks memories and sparks thoughts and goes forward. So yeah, it's part of the brain stimulation for me on that one.
All right. Standalone or series?
Ooh. Wow. That's a tough one. I have to choose one or the other, right?
Supposed to. I mean, I've known a few rebellious ones. I mean, Cam's already been on here, Charles.
Oh,
So
I'm sure Cam has turned it all over and just destroyed your question. That I have no doubt. No, I will stick with the or. I will follow the rules. I'm going to go with series. Series. Yeah, because if I invested in a series, I would love to know more about those characters. And I think the one-offs or standalones could enhance those things for sure. But I think the series comes back to the core of the character. So that's what I would go with.
good answer. All right. Would you rather have your main character be more of cinnamon roll softy or an alpha hero?
I'd go with the latter. I think latter,
Get
not
it?
ladder.
Ah!
I was looking for an opportunity for that one. Yeah, I'll go with for the hero type. It would be great to see the softy turn into the hero and like the sort of
Yes!
strong character.
I'm all for that.
But I think in some of the tropes that I've seen and read and enjoyed or not, depends, that they sort of stick within that framework and don't always change. So either the hero, which can also be boring, it's like, oh, I'm brash running into the fire, and throughout the entire narrative of the story, they don't change, or vice versa. So it's nice. It's also nice to see that transformation as well. But ultimately, I think I'll sort of lean towards the hero or reluctant hero. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Last, this or that. Hero or villain?
Hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like Ro. Come on.
You must have watched his episode.
Oh,
Which didn't surprise me actually.
no.
It didn't. Part of me was like hoping, I'm like, come on, Ro. And then he said Vader. And I was just like, I knew it. I just knew it. Like I should.
I mean, he's got like Vader like 6 feet behind him in every show that he does. I got C-3PO up here and right there.
I love him. Oh my gosh. I love C-3PO. What I would do to meet Anthony, that would be so cool to meet Anthony. That's a whole separate conversation for a whole nother day. Like we could just talk about droids and books with droids. I'd be okay with that too. All right. So we're going to go ahead and deep dive. Now we're going to go into the 5 questions, but these are all holiday and they're all for fun, just to celebrate the season. And again, I'm just so excited that you're here because I'm like, it's Christmas. And
it's Christmas.
I'm so excited. I know. Of course, by that day, we'll actually be with our families and things.
Yes.
But it's so good to talk about books and holidays and all that jazz. So,
yes.
All right. So first one up, what is your favorite book, Christmas book, my bad, from your childhood?
Favorite Christmas book from childhood? I'd have to say we had it was a compendium, like sort of a collection of Christmas stories. It was traditional stuff, and we would read those. My older sister, who took care of a lot of us while my mom was working as a nurse, she would read from this compendium of Christmas stories. A lot of them were like, Santa and, some lore based, but also traditional, sort of not like Disney-ish style of it, but it was different takes on different stories, and that was definitely one of the one of our most well-liked books at that point. And she would read to us, and then would all help us fall asleep. And then she put the record, like the little sort of vinyl record. I know records these days are like retro cool, but we had like this platter, this thing, and would put on the Christmas Story record that would be playing in the background. So, and it was centrally located, so all of our bedrooms could hear it. So we'd get a story from her, and then we get the record to play to help us fall asleep.
Okay, that sounds lovely.
It is. It really was. It really was.
That memory. I actually have it's a thick hardcover back. Okay, it's huge, and it's called like a fireplace collection or fireplace something, and it's all the different. It's like various Christmas stories. It takes only a part of Little Women out. That's the by Louisa
Yeah,
Alcott, and has
yeah,
just
yeah.
that in there. Has the Christmas Carol, has the Christmas Story, but not the one of Christmas Story, the book or movie. But I'm talking about
Right, right.
and I want it. It's huge. It's gotta like at least be like 400 pages.
It sounds like what we had is just like non-traditional stories that you don't necessarily see, you haven't seen it in a cartoon or you haven't seen it in a movie, just Christmas themed stories about family
Mhm.
getting together and coming
Mhm.
together at the last minute, and your most
Well, this one
wanted
also had
gift.
Charles Dickens in it. Charles
Oh,
Dickens.
nice.
Yes, that one had Charles Dickens in it. Well, because I remember finding it, I was so excited because one, it had Christmas Carol, but then it had Louisa Alcott and Little
Hmm.
Women, that little section. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is so neat. But this is also
So
why,
just that one Christmas section they put into the book. Okay,
right.
that's cool.
And I was
Nice,
just like,
nice.
this is why they try to say that this book is Christmas. And it's not just, well, Christmas movie. I'm like, this is not a Christmas movie. It's a coming of age story, but it
Yeah,
makes sense now. So,
you're right. It fit the theme.
all right. So, from those books or from that book, who was your favorite childhood character from a Christmas book?
I have to say Rudolph. Rudolph from the old classic that used to air on over the air TV and was readily available every Christmas season until streaming started. And you can't find it anywhere unless you pay for it. Rudolph was the sort of the North Star of what of the character that I liked, because it was an
Hmm.
unexpected hero and
Mhm.
sort of downtrodden, and were bullied by the other reindeer, whatever, made fun of at least, and ended up being the hero of the story. So that I always definitely connected to Rudolph.
Yeah. And he's shiny and bright and he's good. He's good hearted.
Yes, yes, and does what's right, and doesn't hold a grudge, and ultimately makes saves Christmas for everybody. So that was he was
Yay.
definitely close to my heart.
Okay. That is awesome. Oh my God. I love it. That makes total sense. I'm like, yep, that's you.
I have
Now,
a really
as
big red nose. Wait.
minus that, minus that. So as an adult though, what is like more of a favorite read you'd read now for during the holiday season?
Um, that's a
If
great
you get an
question.
opportunity, that is.
Yeah, so I would say, let me just bring something up here. Just give me a second.
Ooh, I like show and tell, people. You don't understand.
So there's a couple of things. I think that as becoming a parent, um, it's more about time together as opposed to just like things and all that kind of stuff. So, and one of the things that my entire family loves to do is to cook, make
Cool.
things, bake, cook,
Yes.
all these different kinds of things. And this gift from my daughter and my wife from a couple of years ago, which is the Star
Oh,
Wars
that's
cookbook,
good. Ah.
and a little, yeah, it's the BB-8
Mm,
ATE. See what they did there? Very
yep.
good. And we pulled some recipes out of this, and this has always been has become a family favorite for taking out, not necessarily like just Christmas themed stuff, but it's also uh, time together where we're able to, we put aside all of our busy lives. There's no work, so we get the ingredients and just choose one of the recipes out of that, and all make it
Mhm.
together, whether it's pre-prep or post cooking, and we lay it out and everything, and we enjoy that. So that's become a nice tradition for us.
That's wonderful. It's food definitely brings us together,
Yes,
being
yes,
around the table, it brings community when you're
yeah,
cooking together, baking together. I know. I love, growing up, my grandma was a cook and I loved, cooking and baking with her. And those will always be some of the best memories I will ever
yeah.
have of her,
Hmm.
including Christmas Eves, because her Christmas Eves rocked. I'm still trying to even get to that point, and I'm like, yeah, it's different. You know what I mean? Like when you
Yep.
have the one of the glue, you know,
Yeah. No, it is. It's
they're
a
always with us in memory, but
yeah, yeah. And when
yeah,
they pass or when they're not there, like we're gonna go, we have the luxury of going to see my parents-in-law. Well, by the time you hear this, we're here in
yeah,
Montreal with our parents and with my parents-in-law, and the traditions that she has and the cooking that she does, and the cookbooks that she's passed on to Bernadette, my
mhm,
wife, that are in our kitchen and displayed with, with austerity and with reverence. these cookbooks from the late 60s and all these things, and leaf through, and dog-eared, I might say, just saying, these special recipes that it's an heirloom. It's going to be handed down to our daughter as well, and my son partakes with choosing the music for with Alexa. He'll just choose the playlist and stuff like that. So it all comes together as a time of togetherness, and whether it's cooking and certainly eating, we love it.
Yes. So curiosity. So do you guys have any special like Canadian Montreal like holiday traditions that are slightly different from here?
Yeah. So there's what's called, well, it happens in the spring, but a lot of the traditions in Canada are similar to the States, like Thanksgiving, although it's a month earlier and the right month, let's just say. Oh, controversy. But the Réveillon, which is a French word for the not awakening, but it's a gathering of all your family, as many people as you can fit in your house after the midnight mass. And you go and you have this plethora of food. It's a cornucopia. It's a celebration, right? We're celebrating the birth of Christ for those who are Catholic. And there's a particular thing called it's a meat pie. And my mouth is watering right now talking about it. But it's a traditional it's called tourtière, and it's a beef and it's a beef pie, and it's piping hot.
Sounds like a mince pie, but different.
Yeah, it's similar, and that's like one of the central pieces to the French Canadian Réveillon. And again, my mouth is watering right now, and so I've had it several times. I've tried before to cook it; it's good, but it's nothing like that I've had in the past. So that would be the midnight mass midnight mass meal, and up until 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and then everyone sleeps in on Christmas Day, and then wakes up, and then we're talking at noon, and we're opening gifts. Of course, invariably, you get to choose one gift you could open before you go to bed, and then the rest of the next day, of course, December 25th, open the rest of them. So those are like some deep grained memories, which are wonderful.
That sounds wonderful. It does. Actually, I'm like, oh, yep, you had me at food. And of course, then my brain is going off with ideas. I'm like, yep, it's either you and Cam, you both can make my brain work and go, oh, I got an idea now. Thank you. If I ever do a cookbook edition, I know who I'm calling.
Oh, I have several.
All right, moving along. So, okay. So now this is going to get interesting, because you put me in a spot where I kind of know your answers, but I kind of don't, because this was one of those more on the cuff. So would you rather meet somebody from within your cookbook that you have, or somebody within the book that you grew up from your childhood? I know I created this question that was going to be based off of your answers.
Okay.
And I was just like, I'll make this work.
I would have to go. Now I'm going to change it up a little bit. It was a radio drama which was based on a book.
Oh, okay.
The local station in Montreal called CJAD. They used to play this author called Paul Reed, and it was the story of Christmas. And again, I'm talking about all four of us, my brothers and sisters and all that, falling asleep. And my mother would put the radio on loud enough so that we could all hear it. And Paul Reed's Christmas is like he would weave like traditional stories and family stories in with Christmas stories and just make it all work. And it was hours and hours of entertainment. And I would love to have met him, just because his voice was so strong. And so he pulled in, from a Christmas Carol, like we talked about before, Charles Dickens, and he would weave some of these stories in there, and it was absolutely magical. So it was like this multimedia. I mean, it's nothing like, maybe almost like a podcast back in. We're talking the early '80s, and it was
radio was something.
Yeah, it was absolutely it was theater for the mind, and you heard his voice, and I've listened to it. It's on YouTube. You can find it. Paul Reed. I think it's Paul Reid, and you can listen to the entire series. And the music in the background is wonderful. So I would go a little bit outside of books, but because it was also inspired by books and stories, Paul Reed's Christmas. I would love to have met him.
I will definitely look it up. I love radio announcers, or the more retro, the more vintage. Oh
yeah,
I do. I'm like, okay, and these are things I would love to do, because there was something so special about it, and they were so talented in how they did sounds and made some things happen, and I just love that. I'm like, I want to be like that. I want to get my voice to do all that cool stuff.
Exactly. And the radio drama techniques where you introduce background sound effects and just paint this story. And I can literally, I mean, if I think about it now, it's a visceral memory of the cold outside, because, you know, Montreal and, like, you know, minus 30 degrees outside, but it's warm inside, and you hear Paul Reed's voice wafting through the house and just providing calm and the excitement of Christmas coming and everything. It's just, it's a memory I'll never forget.
Wow, that is just wonderful. It just get me all excited, and I'm like, yep, I'm ready for Christmas now. If I wasn't before, now I'm really ready, because it's just, there's something about it. Like growing up, we would listen to Time Life had done this Christmas collection of songs, and that was always wonderful to have playing in the background. And you just have, you know, White Christmas and other songs. So just knowing that there's also, well, okay, no, let's take us back. That too, but like, you had mentioned it earlier, book on record, or book on cassette, or book on CD. You know, I remember I think we had both. I grew up with both, maybe because I had my mom's. I don't know. You know,
I grew up on book on 8-track. I'm old.
I do know what 8-tracks are. We're not old, but I can remember having both. But you know, it's that magical sound that you turn the page, or the sound of the announcers, the way that they were doing their voices and all that jazz. And you're just like, it's the excitement that builds, and the nostalgia, and it just kind of takes you back and gets you excited.
Yeah. I had like several Star Wars audio records that were meant to be listened with. Now, do I have them? No, but listened and read with books. So I would listen to those records at night. And so, oh my R2, why are we here? And you hear like a stop and like, turn the page. And then the story would continue. But I'm just listening to it as I'm trying to fall asleep at night. And so you skip over the turn the page and listen to the story.
If you ever do trivia, it's because you've had it going in your head for all these years.
Exactly.
And you just needed Anthony Daniels to say, take care of this. It'll come back to you, dear man.
And yet all I answer is Padme Amidala for all the trivia questions.
Wow. Did you like nothing from him?
Didn't stick in, apparently.
Oh my gosh. If you can believe it, we're already to our 5th question.
Wow. Okay.
It does. It flies, but you know, we're having a good time. Okay. So if you could live in a book that is set during Christmas, which book would you choose, and where and why?
Wow.
Well, I thought I would know your answer after one of your earlier answers, but maybe now I don't.
Well, now I'm sort of examining everything. I would have to say Charles Dickens' A Christmas Story.
Yes. You mean Carol?
Now, well, Christmas Carol. Yeah, sorry. Well, the version. Okay, so the version that I'm looking that's inspiring this is the Alistair Sim version. It's a black and white movie from the 70s, and it's a very, very particular but not much watch. I've actually purchased the movie because I lost the DVD. Yeah, and the performance that he gives in that is just phenomenal. And it's a Christmas Carol. Yeah, you're right, A Christmas Carol, and based on the Dickens novel, and it's probably the most personal version of it. For me, and I've watched it, you know, for me, it was the first time I saw that was when I used to live at home, and up in Montreal, we were able to pull in the PBS broadcast from upstate New York, Two Mountains, the Lake of Two Mountains channel, the PBS station, and they had that on loop, and I just fell in love with the story, and so that represents my youth. It represents what I enjoy now. My entire family has seen it and has gotten over the black and white, for lack of special effects, and appreciated the story. And that, I think, I would love to experience that. It was, old England, London, obviously not exactly an easy time to be living, but I think the outcome of that story makes me want to be part of that story. And
Yeah,
that's
I
what I
know.
would say.
A Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens, that's definitely, as an adult, that's one of my favorites. Like,
Yeah.
I have some more modern favorites, like
Yeah, same here. Yeah, same here.
Calling Mrs. Miracle. I love that one. And there's just other ones. Or A Christmas Story by Jean Shepherd. That's why I was like, wait, you mean this one?
Yes. Well, that's
did write A Christmas Story, and and that one actually was really good. In fact, I finally read that last year, and I loved it.
Okay.
It is. I watched last year, A Christmas Story, Christmas, and I'm so glad I read the book because for me, it kind of connected and it made sense. Everything all of a sudden went, oh, this makes sense. And of course, they also have like the radio, and you have those voices and the announcers. And I love all that too. But A Christmas Carol, though, Charles Dickens is just classic. And
there's so many of his stories that are so good.
It's interesting because this whole month, every guest, you're the third one now for this month, has also mentioned Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol. So everybody this whole month. Yes. And that not everybody has done holiday, so it's just interesting. It tells you how one story, one author, one writer can really come across many generations, and his legacy still lives on. Whether
it does.
Book, movie,
absolutely does.
Muppet, whichever way, cartoon, whatever way you have it, and he just spans all of it. I love it, and I can't wait. I think his story will continue on because
for sure. I mean, it's the source material for many variations of his stories, and brilliant writer, and Great Expectations. I mean, there's so many of his books that are just I've reread over time that they never fail to. I know the outcome of the story, but the way he writes it, who cares? It's so good.
Reread it again.
Yeah.
Sometimes we catch something different that we didn't see when we were younger, though, or we change how we feel because now we have mature.
Different perspectives. Absolutely.
Okay, we change levels, Sir Charles. You know how this goes in the dungeon. We go levels.
As the age grows, so does the perspective.
Well, this has been so wonderful hanging out with you and visiting with you and getting to know all of some of your holiday bookworm stuff, which I'm just so glad that you're just here today. I'm so glad.
Well, thank you for having me. It's wonderful to think about this.
Merry Christmas to you and your family. I hope you guys have safe travels to and from. So before we leave, I'd like to know, where can we find you on social media, and what have you and Pat been up to these days?
Social media. Well, Pat usually does this, so I'm not quite practiced on it. But speaking of Pat, I would like to show and to bring him into this episode, which you would have loved to have been here for. This is the gift that he gave me last year. This is the Star Wars Life Day book, which was absolutely fantastic. It's a Life Day treasury, so there's a whole bunch of different stories. We actually talked about it in last year's Life Day episode, which is, again, a beautiful tradition of Star Wars themed stories surrounding Life Day, which is a bit different than Christmas, but we see them as Christmas, but also Thanksgiving and togetherness and the whole bit. So without Pat, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't know Ro and the entire Red 5 family. So we are one and the same. What we've been up to recently is just recording episodes. Luke on the Ledge has been traveling towards us, so we've had some fun with Luke on the Ledge, of course. And with our work schedules, it's been tough to get some regular recordings going, but we're managing. We're late nights, early mornings to get these things going. And Pat, of course, working during the entire season at the hospital, selflessly taking care of others while we're at home with our loved ones. So, amazing amount of kudos to him and for what he does, and all of healthcare workers and frontline workers like
my mom too. My mom will be working on this day. So
my wife as well, she'll be working New Year's Eve. So all those people who are not at home with their families on these special days, we need to really acknowledge and say thank you, because they're taking of those who can't take care of themselves. So that's a huge call out to them. But when we are recording and doing our weirdness and fun stuff and commercials and shenanigans, you can find us at Swations on X/Twitter, or as Pat would say, Twitter, our X. So do we talk about them or not? On Facebook, we're at Conversations. On Instagram, we're at Conversations. The same thing for Threads. We're there as well. We have an Etsy shop where we sell our T-shirts, various different concepts at Commercewations. See what we did there? Commerce, not Converse, but Commercewations on Etsy. And of course, we're part of the Red 5 family, proud founding members. And during this time of Christmas and gathering with family, we are not just now, but are especially during this time, are especially grateful for the family that we've grown to love and get to know, you included, and Ro and everyone else, Andrew over at Science Fiction, everybody. Without this Red 5 family, this podcast probably would not have existed, because part of that interaction, part of that fun, it keeps everything going, and we're eternally grateful for that. So you guys are the greatest gift that we could have ever received for Christmas and any time.
See, you know how to make me like just melt. And we cannot not forget that you're also Dungeon Master of the Red 5 Tavern.
Oh, yes. This is true.
I have
yes.
to bring this up, and I'm surprised that Glinda, she was over here earlier, and Alfie was here, and I was waiting for Glinda just to hop up and be like, "Showtime."
Hello.
You must know it's not Friday.
Right, exactly. Cats are smart. Yes, Red 5 Tavern has been a wonderful creation that Brad, co-founder of the Scarif podcast, had created, and it all came together perfectly timed. I was looking towards, playing Dungeons and Dragons. I played when I was literally, 10, 11 years old, when I was back in the 80s, and we used to do all this in paper and on pencil, and
so really,
none
you're
of the tools we had.
Stranger Things thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Whoa.
That is an entire, and I can guarantee you, we had that first season where where they're sitting in their basement amongst their Star Wars toys in the background. That was me and about 5 other kids.
Oh my
god. Writing it all out. I literally did that. Yeah. So, graph paper and charts and the whole bit. None of the stuff that we have today. So that was something I was looking to explore. And when when he kicked off the idea for Red 5 Tavern, and he, he's right now deployed. So Godspeed to Brad right now, and be safe, and he'll back with his family soon. I kicked in and, hey, look, I can help out. So this season's has been a blast, and the whole Red 5 Tavern family is awesome as well. So just an extension. So it's been great.
We are, of course, the Red 5 Tavern is on Christmas vacation.
Yes. So
let's talk about that real quick. When will we? Well, I have a connection to that day too. So
exactly. So January 5th, we'll be back. That's a Friday night. Will be our first episode. Episode 6, I think, will be chapter 6. Will be that night. In the new year. So we'll be gearing that up for that. We're at a very interesting point. Lots of little details and tidbits of this entire story about wyverns and Queen Laramie and Layara. There's a lot of intrigue going on, and some of the characters have had things like dreams and story.
And eventually there will be another player. Eventually she'll show up.
Perfect. We can't wait. We'll bring her in when we need to.
Glinda, I swear, anytime that we have recorded on Fridays, she's like, "Here, I'm here." It's like, no, I'm not playing D&D. I'm not playing Dragons, Glinda. I'm sorry. And I have to refigure out how she's going to work into this story, because,
she's probably the central character. Let's be honest.
Yeah, of course. Like, more important than me. My cat's more important than me. Anyways, I'm excited because On the Fives is actually going to be doing 2 specials that day. Well, one, our regular show drops of On the Fives at 5:05 that day, but then we're also doing a roundtable shortly, about an hour-ish or so before the Red 5 Tavern. We're doing a book review of Heir to the Empire of Volume 1. So I'm
Nice.
excited. That's what everyone can expect. That's what's coming up. I'm very excited because the new year is going to start off with some really fun stuff that everyone
That
can
sounds
join in
extremely
on. You
excited.
can watch,
Yes.
conversations or listen to also on Spotify. That's like my favorite one. I have something to tell you.
Okay.
Like, I think you guys were like I think my number one on Spotify
Us.
podcast.
Who? Ro? I don't see Ro here anywhere. What are you talking about?
Oh, he's Rose. Scarif's is in my top 5. It is.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I remember going,
Wow.
Persuasions, Nick Flicks, then Conversation. Yeah. And then Scarif. And then there's another one. And then I was just like,
Wow.
you're number one.
Not too bad. We're number one. We're number one. We're number one.
But anyway, so everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining my friend Charles of Conversation and I tonight as we celebrate again the holiday season. I hope that you guys have a wonderful Merry Christmas and enjoy the wonderful New Year. Again, please check out Charles of Conversations as well as the Red 5 Tavern and the Red 5 Network and of course the Red 5 Reading because we would love if you want to join in the fun. We've got plenty of fun having, happenings and going ons, and we would love for you to partake if you choose. So thank you
giveaways.
For tonight. What?
And giveaways.
And giveaways?
Did you have a giveaway?
Oh yeah. And Isaac, congratulations again to Isaac. I know. I love giveaways. Anybody who's seen me knows I do. Like I did one, I did a trivia on used and abused, and I got Megan one from an autistic point of view, and then I got her like a very specific like Sleeping Beauty shirt that she had mentioned during the show. Oh yeah, I do good. I know what I'm doing when I come to those contests. Now it's time I do that on purpose. I'm like, I'm going to make sure this is perfect.
The way to do it.
Anyways, thank you to everybody again for listening. I hope you have a wonderful night and a wonderful holiday season. Have a happy new year and a Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining in.